Ohio State, their win total right now I'm seeing is 10.5. They went 14-2 last year, lost to Oregon, lost to some other team in the Big Ten, won the national championship. Ryan Day got the national championship under his belt. Hasn't gotten the Michigan monkey off his back yet. They come back. They're plus 190 to win this conference, and nobody knows really who their quarterback is. It looks like it's going to be Julian Sayin, but we haven't seen their quarterback play once, and they're only plus 190 to win this conference. Dylan, the floor is yours with the Ohio State Buckeyes. Your alma mater.
Yeah, graduate. I have the degree. Hold on.
Yeah, this is great podcasting right now. Just sitting here talking.
For those of you that are listening audio only, I have my college degree right here, Ohio State University. Found out this year I get to play their golf course as an alumni. It's a private course I get to play.
What are you going to wear?
I still have to pay. I'm wearing my Michigan polo. I already decided it. I'm wearing my Michigan polo. They still charge like $130.
Wexler's going to ban you for that.
Wexler's got bigger problems right now. We got presidents not releasing files. Wexler's got bigger problems than me playing his golf course. Yeah, the Ohio State Buckeyes, good year last year, decent year. I mean, you win the national. It's very rare that you get to. A team like Ohio State gets to check off all the boxes, right? We win national championship, check. We win the Big Ten. Well, at least they made the Big Ten title game, right? Well, we didn't get to do that. Okay. Well, we beat our rival that we were 21, but we didn't get to do that. So a lot of Ohio State, Ryan Day gets the contract for life. We've done this song and dance before. Ohio State fans have seemed over the course of the offseason to cope with that. They usually don't around Thanksgiving time. But as for this team, as much as I like to rib them, they did win the national championship, 2 lost national champions. Returning players, you obviously have Jeremiah Smith. You have Caleb Downs coming back. Sonny Style is a great defensive asset. You have Julian Sayin. I say coming back. He didn't play last year, but he is within the program. He was with the program last year. My biggest question is, if Julian Sayin was that good of a quarterback, what you think he would have played somewhere by now? You think he would have had valuable snaps somewhere at any point?
I mean, not
last year
necessarily.
was his first year, right?
The first year at Ohio State, yeah. So that's fair. But I mean, you think if he was that good, he maybe would not have been willing to sit behind Will Howard? You think maybe he would have gotten more time at Alabama?
Maybe that just speaks to the culture at Ohio State. To get a guy like that to sit for 1 year.
I mean, you got Lincoln Kineholz, who's been there for 4.
Are you gonna pull this on the Texas preview when you're like, Arch Manning? If he was that good, he would have started over Quinn Ewers.
Well, it's a little different, right? Because he's been at Texas his whole time. It's not like he was at another school and transferred in and transferred out and all that. He's been at Texas the whole time. It's a little different.
I don't know the Julian Sayin recruiting stuff. I don't dive into college football recruiting at all. Maybe he just got more money in Columbus.
And that's more than fair, right? And then you got to ask, do you want that kind of guy like that on your team? Worth asking. Key losses, obviously. You lose Will Howard, Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins. Someone's on record saying this guy's an overall bad man. I don't know who that is, but that was proven, right? Beating women left and right. Emeka Egbuka, Jack Sawyer, all leave, right? And as much as I like to rib on them, they were all good players. You get Tavian St. Clair in, who may see time on the field. He's a highly touted recruit. I think Max Clare, tight end from Purdue, another great option for a receiving core. The problem that I'm going to see here is you have Jeremiah Smith, good receiver, right? I like my receivers to catch with 2 hands, but good receiver. But then, like, Cardinal Tate and Brandon Ennis on the receiving core don't really do it for me in terms of what Ohio State has had in the past in terms of wide receivers 2 and 3. That's Ohio State's bread and butter, is their wide receiver U. Brian Hartline has been great in that position. I think he'll be great as an offensive coordinator. But this wide receiver room is a step down from what we normally see at Ohio State. And that wide receiver room is what propels the quarterbacks that Ohio State has had, right? Because we've seen talent come through at the wide receiver position and elevate the quarterback. I don't see the same from this wide receiver room outside of Jeremiah Smith.
So
in terms of years past, it's not the same.
I think Jeremiah Smith is that good.
But he was there. But think about the drop off from Egbuka to Carnell Tate. And then the drop off from wide receiver 3 to Brandon Inniss. Like that, I think that is kind of Jeremiah Smith. I like to joke. Jeremiah Smith is one of the best receivers in college football. But
let's say Jeremiah Smith takes another leap, though. He's going to be the best receiver in college football this year.
I think. Okay, about the leap, I don't know if he can. I think the ceiling can't be that much higher than what we saw last year. I don't think.
We don't know. I mean, he was a freshman. True freshman.
Towards the end of the year, we did see teams start throwing so many guys on him. It was just do it with someone else.
Are you not more concerned about the running back position with this team?
The running back position.
That's where I'm looking. I mean, you can say what you want about Judkins and then Travion Henderson last year. That's an elite running back duo from last year, and now you're running with C.J. Donaldson in the backfield. I like C.J. Donaldson. He was a fine Big 12 back. Playing at Ohio State, it's supposed to be on the best team in the country. Now I don't know how much I love C.J. Donaldson at that point.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Connor, you go ahead. I've talked enough.
It's fun. Well, I feel like I've heard Dylan say the name Carnell Tate probably 100 times over the last 2.5 seasons. I don't know why that just sticks out to me. Well, he'll be a fine number 2 option. As much as you like to rip on him, I think he'll be okay as the number 2 for Ohio State this year. My biggest concern, Julian Sayin, I mean, the talent's there. He's a former 5-star recruit. He has 12 pass attempts in his career. 12 pass attempts. And for a guy like that, who's young, who's going to get his first true start this year on the biggest stage for a team with a 10.5 win total with national champion repeat aspirations, I'm not entirely sure I trust him to hit the ground running right off the bat. A guy like Will Howard last year, college football experience, he comes in, you know the talent's there, it's proven. That's a guy that's played college football for a long time. This is going to be different for Ohio State. This is a different ball game with basically a first-year quarterback in getting his first starts. And, Jeremiah Smith, best receiver in college football, but outside of that, he's the only guy. He's one out of the 4 guys last year who had 750 scrimmage yards that returns. Travion Henderson gone. Quinshon Judkins gone. Egbuka gone. Are these weapons good enough to elevate Julian Sayin in those first few weeks of his college football career for the most part? That's what I don't know.
Especially week 1. They start off.
Exactly.
It's not like you get to play Akron this year, or you get to play a bunch of nobodies to start the season. You got to go play Texas, who might be the best team in the country for all we know. So I agree with Connor.
Yeah.
I just think there's too many questions about this Ohio State team. A lot of turnover in the key positions. I like Jeremiah Smith. I like Caleb Downs, but I don't know about your quarterback. I don't know about your running back situation, which the running back situation has to be worse. The quarterback situation, I'd imagine, is worse. I don't feel great about this Ohio State team this year. Plus, you don't have an easier non-conference. You got to play Texas. You got to play Penn State. At Illinois is not an easy game. At Michigan, no matter what you say, is not an easy game. I'm not in on this Ohio State team this year. I don't think they're. I think they're fine. I think they're 9-3, 10-2.
Wow.
But I don't think they're going to be going undefeated by any means.
So let me ask this. I think you took the words right out of my mouth. The running back room is a huge problem. I always thought Travion Henderson was the better back in that backfield, and that wasn't. I don't have any more contempt for Judkins than I do Henderson as an Ohio State hater, but I always thought Henderson was the better back there. But you take away both of them, and like you said, I have the depth chart up here. It says James Peoples is going to be running back number 1, C.J. Donaldson running back number 2. Agree with that 100%. I think the biggest thing that we're going to ignore is this defense. And you have Sonny Styles, who's great. You have Caleb Downs, who's great.
Matt Patricia coaching this defense.
That is a huge problem. And of course, you can say, well, he helped run the defense for the Patriots under Belichick, but he also
has good defense.
He helped run the defense in 23 under Sirianni in Philadelphia. And listen, if you're going to ask me, is Ryan Day more of a Belichick or is he more of a Sirianni? I want to say he's probably more of a Sirianni than a Belichick. That's just going to be my personal opinion there. So you have these questions where it's like the defense, you look here, either you have a lot of returners or people coming in from within the program. I don't think that's bad. I think we are severely underestimating the effect that Jim Knowles had on this defense. He came in 2021. It took a year, there's a bit of a learning curve, some growing pains, but he got this defense right. And if people are expecting Matt Patricia to come in and have this defense looking the way that it did the last 2 years, I think Ohio State fans are going to be in for a very rude awakening. And not to mention, I'm going to say the name wrong. Igbinosun, however you say it, PI merchant. He's just the biggest PI merchant I've ever seen. He's Denzel Burke on steroids. So you have a couple key pieces there on the defense, but I think this defense is going to take a huge step back from what it's been the last 2 years. And it's going to be more, it's almost going to be more like Ohio State football of 2017 to 2021, but with a worse offense, is what I'm guessing. I think, Karter, you're exactly right. 9 wins is probably more realistic than the upper echelon of 11 or 12.
They led the country last year in opponent yards per game and opponent points per game. So I agree that this defense is going to take a step back. I'm not sure how large it'll be, but yeah, they're replacing 8 guys drafted in the top 174 picks in the NFL draft. That's a lot of high-end talent that went pro last year. And a guy like Jim Knowles, I think you're right. I don't think he gets enough credit for what he did. The talent was there. The veteran leadership was there. Don't get me wrong. But I think he did a lot for this defense. And Matt Patricia, I just feel like that's a name we keep hearing. Like, oh, Matt Patricia's back on the sideline. Am I supposed to be excited about that? I don't know. And Caleb Downs is fine. He'll be a strong point. As a UNC guy, Bo Atkinson at one of the defensive end spots. He was solid at Carolina. I think he had like 7.5 sacks last year. Solid player in the ACC, upper echelon player in the ACC. But in terms of talent and depth and leadership, especially on that defensive line where they lost a ton, I think you guys are right. This defense is going to take a step back, and I'm not entirely confident the offense is going to make up for that. So I'm with you guys. I think 9-3 is spot on.
Now, a 9-3 season with a win at Michigan is all. I think that's a successful season in Ryan Day's
The
mind.
rhetoric will be, we got some growing pains with Julian Saban, but we beat Michigan, so all is right in Columbus. They can miss the playoff and beat Michigan, and they'll be thrilled. Nobody will be calling for Ryan Day's job. Nobody will have him on the hot seat if that happens.
Oh, yeah. And that's the bar. Like, at this point, that is the bar for Ohio State. It's like the one thing they can't do is beat Michigan. And that. Honestly, if you had an Ohio State fan come on here and say 1-11, we beat Michigan, it's a winning season. That is,
we joke, but
it's the standard.
It's not far off.
No, that is the standard for the Buckeyes. And that's like, more power to you. Just come off a national championship, all you're thinking about is beating Michigan. It's beautiful to see, and I understand. I've done my real analysis. Ohio State 9 wins probably. The defense is going to take a step back. I love seeing it. I went to the Crocs store yesterday, right, to get Crocs for my little cousin for her birthday. Guess what? They had Michigan gibbets. This is in Polaris. This is 20 minutes from campus. They had Michigan gibbet. That is how bad it's gotten in Columbus. Is like you can't not have Michigan gibbets at the mall.
You know what also bothers me about all this because I think every single Ohio State person forgets how they felt right after they lost to Michigan. Because the national championship happened. And look, if I'm a sports fan, I would rather win a national championship than beat my rival. If Duke lost to Carolina both times in a season, but we won the national title, do not care. Give me the national title 10 times out of 10.
Agree.
But Ohio State and Michigan fans build up this rivalry so much that Ohio State fans, it caused them to crumble and put themselves in this terrible position. And it just pisses me off that it was kill Ryan Day. I want Ryan Day dead. Done. We're done with Ryan Day. And then 2 weeks later, all of a sudden, lifetime contract. He's the greatest coach ever. What's going to happen? What's going to happen if Bryce Underwood and this Michigan team beat Ohio State this year?
I think it'll be more of the same. Like the 2 weeks of, oh, Ryan Day's the worst, oh, fire Ryan Day. But then, if they find themselves in the Big Ten championship, if they find themselves in the playoffs,
let's say they miss the playoffs. Let's say they miss the playoffs and they lose to Michigan.
They will be calling for his job immediately.
I think they'll be calling for Ryan Day, but I think there will be some, because honestly, I think we're all kind of on the same boat here. This is what a down year looks like for Ohio State. So there might be some voices that come in and say, okay, well, yeah, we didn't make the playoffs. Yeah, we lost to Michigan again, but this is not an Ohio State team that we're used to having. I think maybe there will be some voices of reason. I don't think Ryan Day with the national championship has secured a job until the 2030s, I think. Unless something crazy like 500
Unless-
seasons start happening, as long as he's a 9-10 win coach, I think he's secured his job for a while. They'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Unless there's a Norvell situation where all of a sudden he's 2-10 and can't run the ball. And
Barring anything like that, but it's very, very interesting.
Can I rattle off something about Ryan Day real quick, guys?
Please do.
First, I forget where I saw this stat. I loved it, though. It might have been that Bill Connolly article. I don't know. I love that article. First 80 games coaching in college football. Actually, no, it wasn't from that article. I know where it was from. First 80 games in college football. Nick Saban, 67-13. Dabo, 55-25. Kirby, 65-15. Ryan Day in his first 80 games, 70-10. Dylan, 70-10.
How many of those losses came to Michigan?
What is? How many?
That's at least 40%.
4? Yeah, 40%.
That's 40% of his losses have been to Michigan.
So he's 70-10, and next up is Saban at 67-13. That's pretty damn good. The problem is Urban Meyer was 72-8 in his first 80 games, 7-0 versus Michigan. That's what he's following up. That's all people see. But you take a step back and look at it from the non-Michigan loss glasses, 70-10 in your first 80 games. Yeah. And I think only one of those is against an FCS opponent. Saban definitely played a few of those. Objectively, that's pretty damn good. However, I do agree with what you guys are saying. If it's another loss to Michigan, I don't know. That's going to be tough for Ryan Day. Especially if they're not in the playoff.
I was thinking about this last night, just with the poll coming out, and I got something to mention about the poll again, actually. Ohio State fans, when you think about dynasties within the last 10, 15 years, I mean, Ohio State, outside of the 2011 Luke Fickell year, I mean, Ohio State is one of the colleges, universities that have had it the best in college football. Like, you go from Urban Meyer, like, one of the more spoiled fan bases, I think, gets slept on because it's not Alabama, it's not Georgia. One of the more spoiled fan bases in all of football. And I'm not saying that like it's a bad thing, but you're exactly right. To get Ryan Day to come in and go 70-10 in his first 80 games, and it's still poo-pooed on because it's not good as Urban Meyer's 72-8. Like, you know, I'm not going to deny it. Ohio State's, they've been a powerhouse ever since I've been in high school, pretty much.
It's just a tough act to follow. The Urban Meyer stuff is a tough act to follow for anybody. Ask Kalen DeBoer and Bama how it feels to follow Nick Saban, but I don't know. He's done a pretty damn good job, objectively.